Hello, Brian Vietzke again, and I'm here to talk to you about the first step of any type of sales process, and in my personal opinion, it's the most neglected step to the sale, and that is the introduction, or the meet and greet, or whatever it is that you've heard before it in the past. The way I like to see it, the way I like to label it, is my step of the sale is get the customer's attention. And for me, I think you got to really kind of look at this a little bit. Your customer has made the decision to shop you online, all right? It's made the decision to check out any kind of reviews that exist on your website. It's checked out your social media pages, and it has taken the initiative to get in their vehicle, despite all stereotypes and all perceptions and any type of negative feeling or any negative feedback that they've gotten from the outside world, to drive to your store. Then they've either driven around the lot and they've had to look in their rearview mirror to see if anybody's chasing them while they're out there, and they've got their guard ready. They've been taught by us how to respond to us as salespeople. Why? It's frustrating, but because they've got a humongous set of fears that are out there. I mean, they're sitting there thinking, is this guy going to make too much money off me? Am I going to buy a lemon? Am I going to put my car in the driveway? Is a new product going to come out? Is gas mileage going to significantly change down the way? Should I have leased? Should I have purchased? Should I get the right term? Am I going to buy a lemon? I don't know which other fears I may have already mentioned, but regardless, you get the idea. They have a tremendous amount of fears that they have to overcome before they walk in your door. Now, I have trained enough people and been in enough dealerships and worked in enough situations that I realize that there are word tracks that people have that are out there in place. And I'm going to tell you, all of them are great. And a word track is simply designed to ask a question and say it in a certain way with a certain amount of voice inflection that gets the customer to give you a reaction or a response that is kind of on your way of doing things, right? It follows that path. And I encourage you, if there's a step to the sale to do it, by all means, go for it in every way. Now, for me, there is a little detail that I think everybody forgets, and that is the power of a handshake, the power of a smile, and the power of a name. You know, if you go back to the first people that really dove into this business of rhetoric and communication, it goes back a very, very long time ago. It goes back to guys by the name of Aristotle. I don't know, maybe you ever heard of him, okay? And he basically points it out that we have to add character, all right? Character and emotion and logic. But you'll never discover to dive onto the emotional reasons why someone makes the decision to work with you, and you'll never get to logically making it make sense if they don't recognize you as an individual who has character, who operates with honesty, trust, and integrity. There's the very definition of character. So what I have to ask you is, whatever it is in your introduction format, and if you have less than a minute to get their attention, how do they recognize you as someone with character? Well, here's what I encourage you to do. Go grab Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And after you've read that book, go grab Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. How to Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill was written back in the early 1900s after Napoleon Hill had the luxury and privilege of following one of the first millionaires, Andrew Carnegie. And he recognizes that it's your personality that separates you from everybody else. It is your smile. And he really dives into the value of a name. It's the one thing that makes you unique from everybody else. It was what's given to you on the day you were brought into this world. It was the first thing you were ever given, and it's the first thing, and it's the one thing you always depend on. When someone says your name, you turn your head, you check it out. But salespeople forget people's name all the time. We don't pay attention to the value of it. We don't take training methods to make sure that we always remember somebody's name. Okay? Now, Dale Carnegie dives into the smile, okay? Dale Carnegie was one of the big guys out there, and you've all heard Dale Carnegie classes. Maybe we don't realize that this guy did this book that's been the very aha moment for most successful leaders in the world today, because they live and breathe everything that this guy wrote. And he didn't teach any new tricks. He just got into the simple fundamentals of things that we forget every day. And most of us don't dive into the habits or jump into creating our self or personal habits to make things part of our everyday ritual. So I'm going to tell you what it is. He believes that there is a certain method into introducing a handshake. There's a point in time when a handshake means more than when it does in another fashion. And in most of us, a customer walks in the door and they go, "Hi, welcome to such and such dealership. My name is," and you are. And the handshake's already been extended. Well, if you read what this guy's talking about, he says, don't give a handshake until there's been an exchange of names from both parties. It doesn't mean anything. And you're not going to remember that name if you don't get their name first, and then you have that connection. So here's what I would encourage everybody to try and get in a better habit of doing. Customer walks into that store, okay, and they walk right into that. Whether they're outside coming in to get a brochure, they're in the service department, they're sitting in the lobby, they're getting water, they're getting coffee. This is how you handle it, and it does not matter what they say next. Your reaction is, that's fantastic, I'll be happy to help you out. Give you an example. Customer walks in, wants a brochure. Hi, Mr. Customer. What brings you in today? Well, I'm here to get a brochure. That's fantastic. I'll be happy to help you out with that. By the way, my name is Brian Vietzke, and you are? My name is John Smith. Very nice to meet you, Mr. Smith. Then you extend that handshake. You extend that handshake with a smile. You extend that handshake with a, my name is, and you are. Now, both names have been exchanged, and it's an appropriate time for a handshake. If I went up there and said, hey, how it brings you in here today? How can I help you? And you extend the handshake, it doesn't mean anything. There's not been a power of it. There's no been an exchange there. It does not mean anything. They do not recognize you any different than the guy that they just talked to down the road. So to pay attention to that part of the introduction, I'm not telling you to ignore any word tracks that your dealership or your organization has taught you. All I'm telling you to do is pay attention to the power of a name, pay attention that you have to establish character with that customer, get a handshake out there. Yes, there's certain cultures where that handshake may be different and they may be not as well received, and maybe there's scenarios where customers are going to give you their hand first because it's what they've been taught to do. But it does not mean that this is not a habit you have to create for yourself every day. So again, the whole point of an introduction is to establish character, to break down all fears, negative perceptions, and stereotypes, and to get them to see you as an individual with honesty and integrity. And the best way you can do that is to have a connection. And the best way to have a connection is to have an exchange of names, value in that handshake, and a smile. There's your introduction. Please use it. If you have any comments, write them down in there. If you want to follow me on Facebook, I'm going to continue to draw more stuff about this. Okay? Next segment of video, we're going to talk about the qualifying stages of things. Okay? Thank you. Bye.